If you have worked a night watch offshore, you know the ocean keeps its own clock. On the night I'm talking about, it skipped a beat and our rig moved. We did not drift. We were pulled. My name is Caleb, radio hand and relief deck watch on a semi-submersible parked 100 miles south of Vermilion Bay. It was late August, heat lightning on the horizon, the hull humming against a 2-foot swell. Most nights are notes you forget between alarms. That one taught me there is a sound the sea makes when it has its hands on you. We run 8 anchors on chain the size of a man's thigh, each paid out through a fair lead to bite the seafloor and hold us steady. The dynamic positioning screens in the doghouse give you a little green boat and a circle it should not leave. At 0130, our dot kissed the line and stayed there like it meant to. Wind was 4 knots, current lazy, nothing on radar but a supply boat 10 miles out. Luis in the crane cab said he could feel it through the cab floor, a tightness in the cable even with the hook parked and the whip line slack. We called the OM Harker, a man who speaks in weather and numbers, and he came up from his bunk with his boots unlaced. He watched the tension monitors on anchors 3 and 4 creep up a tick at a time, like a blood pressure cuff you're trying to ignore. Then the windlass pawl started its little metronome, 3 clicks in a row, rest, 3 clicks, rest, a rhythm you do not hear unless something is breathing on the chain. I told myself it was thermal eddies, a tide line teasing us, anything you can put in a report without blushing. Night watch is half faith and half list. Make rounds, check doors, read gauges, log the hour, stare at a horizon that will not blink. At 0214, the horn on the north stack burped, a 2-second cough that should only happen on test. Below, the sea looked calm enough to drink. I stepped out on the deck and felt it anyway, a long pull through the sawls, like an elevator starting down. Luis came over the radio and said, in Spanish first because fear does that to him, that the hook had moved on its own and was now hanging a foot farther outboard. Crane brakes do not forget, he said, and Harker told him to lock and pin and meet us at the port bow. We walked the catwalk with our headlamps off, not superstition, just so our eyes could read the water by the work lights throwing gold across the swell. The chain to anchor 4 was singing high, a thin wire sound for something that weighed more than houses. Then the bow yawed, not with wind, but with something tugging us hard. Everyone jokes that metal can sing, but that chain was saying hold, hold, hold. Harker keyed the engine room, brought thrusters to assist. Our little green boat kissed the circle again and slid over it, 2, then 4 meters, all of it toward Anchor 4's vector. The tension display climbed in stair steps that matched the pawl's 3-click rhythm. Luis and I clipped on and went to the fairlead. You could feel the song through the guardrail, high and thin, like a wire across your molars. We tried to slack 4, 5 links to bleed it, see if the anchor bit again. Brakes, pawl up, dogs clear. The winchman feathered the lever. The chain paid out 1, 2, 3 white painted shots, and then it kept going. The lever was neutral, the brake was set, but the chain surged, grinding against the drum. Each lurch like something down there had taken our line in a gloved hand. The brake wheel smoked. The winchman swore and redogged. The surge stopped, but the rig had moved again, 7 meters now, the bow cocked like a dog on a short leash. We asked the Pelican Star to sweep her lights where 4 ran. The skipper said he saw a long boil that didn't travel. Not wind, not prop wash, just water climbing itself. The work lights painted the swell gold, and the bioluminescence pulsed. 3, rest, 3, rest, marching in from black water toward our bow. Harker told the bridge to call Coast Guard and log a developing mooring incident. He told us to stand by to heave if 4 went slack. The slack never came. Instead, the rig slid another meter, then another. Then, as if the unseen hand had made its point, everything stopped. The song on the chain bled to a hum. The dot drifted back inside the green. At dawn, we walked the chain. Every link looked like a factory except for one place. 36 shots out, where the paint was polished off in a spiral for links bright as bone. The pattern wasn't our fair lead, and it wasn't the gypsy. It was too tight a radius, as if the chain had been dragged around a smaller, perfect drum. Harker marked it in the log. Abnormal wear, unknown source. We flew an ROV later that week. It found the anchor where it ought to be, buried and still. No cables na rede, no travou, no debris. Just a bite mark on iron the size of houses. When the sea wants you, it tells you in threes. Sometimes it pulls. Sometimes it lets go. I tell myself it was current on current, a freak front, a submarine that never called it in. That's what you put in reports. At 0130, if you stand by the port bow, you can hear 3 small clicks, then silence, and feel the deck lean just enough to make you catch your breath and look for a hand on a rail that isn't there.